killer cops, killer cops. So then the government comes in and they say, we got to do something about this because the whole world is looking at us.
Nobody cares what's happening to black folk because they've already been conditioned to believe that these people are better off dead anyway. So propaganda is the first stage of military warfare. Right now, we're being set up for another extermination campaign. It's going to be worse than what went on in Wilmington. Whenever the propaganda gets worse, then you know the extermination is going to be that much worse. If anyone wants to study the art of propaganda science, you must study Joe Control. You can't really put a dollar on how much my pain is worth. If anyone wants to study the art of propaganda science, you must study Joe Control. Keep the lies simple. Keep the lies simple. Tell it over and over again. If you do this, people cannot help but accept your lies. Your brain will always forever be the victim of repetition. It doesn't matter how big the lie is or how small the truth is. If you tell it over and over again, ultimately you will control that person.
Propaganda. If we're going to talk about psychology, we got to talk about mind control. And Lord knows black folk watch more TV than everybody else. Have you noticed what's going on in the media? What is the media priority right now? The media priority, well, homosexuality, but even along with the homosexuality is assassination of the image of the black family. Remember what was going on in Ferguson? All the attention was on killer cops, killer cops, killer cops. United Nations stepped in, told America they need to do something about their white police brutality problem against black men. Killer cops, killer cops. So then the government comes in and they say, we got to do something about this because the whole world is looking at us for killing all these black men. We got to get the attention off of us. What can we do to get the attention off of killer cops? I know what we're going to do. We're going to put it on NFL athletes who beat their wives. And in 24 hours, the attention went from Michael Brown to Adrian Peterson. In 24 hours, it went from Michael Brown to Ray Rice. Look at that. They took the attention off police who kill to black men who beat. And don't get me wrong, ain't no brother got no business putting his hand on no woman. Okay? But white supremacy don't give a damn about the black man or the black woman. They just needed to get the attention off of them. And they kept on going, didn't they? They started finding black men all over the place beating on their wife. Let me get this right. Y'all kill kids. Y'all kill babies. But you more worried about a man who hit his wife who didn't even press charges on him. Y'all see that? White supremacy. White folks will never forget you black. They never forget you black. They gonna hit Oprah. They gonna hit Tyler Perry. They gonna hit them all. Because this is who they are. Last thing they want to see is a rich black person to begin with. And just because you turning your back on your people, don't mean we not still upset that you rich to begin with. So they coming at them all. That's what they do. That's why I say don't get mad at the bourgeoisie blacks. Let them think they all this and that.
Propaganda is essential to any military campaign. Black people tend not to understand propaganda. And the reason why we tend not to understand propaganda is because the propaganda channels, the mediums, the conduits, the radio, the television, the newspaper, we tend to just treat as forms of entertainment. We don't see them as military strategy. When there's a movie depicting black people in a negative image, when there's caricatures in the newspaper making jokes about black people, we tend to just see it as political entertainment. We don't see it as laying the foundation before the storm. That's exactly what they did in Wilmington. You always seek to create a context that allows your military campaign to be acceptable. There's always context. You study Adolf Hitler in Nazi Germany. He had a propaganda campaign that lasted over a year. before he began to physically oppress the Jews. He had to make sure that the national mindset had been conditioned to accept the extermination to come. In Wilmington, North Carolina, the same exact thing happened years before Nazi Germany. Through the magazines, through the radio, through word of mouth, through stage play, they created negative images of black people in the minds of white folk in case there were any liberals who would have been against what they were going to do. They were slowly able to reform their opinion by constantly repeating negative information about the target population. See, the one thing about the brain that we got to understand is the creature of repetition. Whoever has the most access to the brain rules the brain. It's all about volume, not quality. The more you tell people that a certain group of people are no good, the more you show images, the more you show sounds, song, poem, dance, projecting negative information about a people, sooner or later the subconscious begins to get conditioned automatically, because you can't turn off the subconscious to what it sees and what it hears. Sound and image, you cannot stop it except to stay away from it. So sound and image are critical to any propaganda campaign because they help lessen the defenses of anyone who may be against what you're trying to do. It's the same thing happening right now. There is a direct assault on the image of the black man and woman internationally. So when mass incarceration, homicide takes place, nobody cares what's happening to black folk because they've already been conditioned to believe that these people are better off dead anyway. So propaganda is the first stage of military warfare. Right now, we're being set up for another extermination campaign. It's going to be worse than what went on in Wilmington, Tulsa, Charleston, Rosewood. It's going to be worse. Whenever the propaganda gets worse, then you know the extermination is going to be that much worse, because you see how far the exterminator had to go in order to condition the people to prepare them for the carnage to come.
The Wilmington victims, the blacks who suffered as a result of the race riots of Wilmington 1898, are owed compensation. Their descendants are owed that compensation. Why? Because that was a coup d'etat. That Wilmington race riot was the first and probably the only time in American history where a municipal government was overthrown by the citizenry. You've never had that before. It was a coup d'etat. Coup d'etats are military. So since the government was changed through military force, and because the community was destroyed through military force, reparations are owed by the municipal government for doing nothing about it, the state government for not intervening, and by the federal government for watching it and doing nothing about it at all. So yes, they are owed reparations. Without a doubt, they are owed reparations. And it is important that as they work to calculate the amount of money that they are owed as a result of the Wilmington massacre, they need to make sure that they include psychological damages as well. When we talk about reparations, a lot of times we don't talk about the psychological cost of trauma, the psychological cost of the riots, the psychological cost of losing your family, the psychological cost of being run out of town. I would submit to you that the psychological costs of the Wilmington race riots of 1898 may be more excessive than the financial costs. Because when you talk about psychological pain, you can't really put a dollar on that. You could put a dollar on the business. You could put a dollar on how much the home was worth. You can't really put a dollar on how much my pain was worth. So as the brothers and sisters in Wilmington form that legal team, and I hope they form a legal team of sincere attorneys and consultants, because a lot of black people are going to want to swoop in as you bring this issue to the forefront. A lot of black people are going to want to swoop in, and then they're going to want to do what? Create a niche for themselves within the reparation movement so they can get paid. And if the blacks in Wilmington are not careful, if the descendants of those who suffered this are not careful, much of the reparations will get paid out through capitalistic, selfish Negroes who hustle the struggle. It is also important that as they come up with the list of requirements for reparations,
that they don't be too quick to look for a financial payout. Instead, they should look for unlimited access to certain services and total control over certain industries. When you talk about reparations, because the cost of the trauma was so extensive and unending, the payment that is to be received, your compensation, should also be excessive and unending. You see, what if black people never had to pay a property tax as a result of having their property taken? That's perpetual, forever. What if our children automatically had free access to the universities in the state? Forever. That's perpetual. What if we were given exclusive right to certain industries within the state? What if we were given exclusive control over certain lands within that city? That's perpetual. Be careful about money. Money runs out. And because we don't have a self-sustaining economic community, if they were to give the black descendants of the victims of the Wilmington race riots a financial payout, white people know through economic science that that $1 trillion will be back in their hands in 25 years. Why? Because you have no businesses of your own in which to spend it. So we have to be very strategic with our war for reparations, because if we're not careful, white people will give you the money in one hand and take it all back in the next, because you don't have independent institutions in which to sustain yourself.
We fail to realize music is America's second largest export industry. Did you know that? America makes more money off music than almost everything else that it makes. So they have to control the content and the intent of that music, because music and movies can wake up people up in 24 hours. That's why if you notice, all the movies that come out about black folks are negative and demeaning, even when they produced by black folks, right?
Right.
I'm proud of Tyler Perry. Brother went from living in a car to a billionaire. But my God, how many more Medeas do we need to see? We didn't have Medea Christmas, Medea Halloween, Medea Thanksgiving, Medea 4th of July. You mean to tell me, brother, you can't do a real movie on the Marcus Garvey movement? You can't do a real movie on the Haitian Revolution? You can't do a real movie on all these black heroes we didn't have? All of the great black episodes in our history, and instead of that, y'all want to make Menace to Society. Instead of that, Boys in the Hood, another Medea, Why Did I Get Married? Look at the filth that they put out to do one thing: indoctrinate our children against their greatness, alienate you from who you are. So when we talk about propaganda, we got to recognize something, that most of the misinformation you get comes to you from 5 companies: AOL, Time Warner, and Walt Disney, Bertelsmann, Viacom, and Rupert Murdoch's News Corporation. 5 families control all information. All your music, all your movies, all your DVDs, all your TV shows, all your empires and scandals, and all of that come from 5 groups. The 5 families, baby. That's why all the news is the same. It's all the same. And the leaders of those 5 families all sit at the table of the Bilderberger family. The Bilderberg is the Council of 300. It's the organization of the white supremacist power structure. The 300 most important white men and women sit around that table, and they dictate destiny for the world. And they're going to do that till black folks stand up and decide to dictate destiny for ourselves. Talk about a free press. Ain't no such thing as a free press. You know what they do to reporters who tell the truth? Your ass end up dead. Anybody saw the movie Kill the Messenger, came out last month? About the white reporter from the San Jose Times who uncovered the fact that the CIA was selling crack in the black community? Gary Webb. And they blew his damn brains out. Ain't no damn free press. If they ever catch you telling the truth about something white folks doing, you are out of here.
Propaganda is informational warfare. Propaganda is the art of changing people's minds about what you are doing so you do not have to take their lives. Let me say it again. Propaganda is the art of changing people's minds and opinions about who you are and what you are. Let's say you live in my house and I'm domestically abusing you, okay? You either want to fight back or you want to leave. So if I want to make you a willing accomplice to the domestic abuse, I'm going to have to do what? Create a propaganda campaign of one against another one that seduces you into believing that what I am doing to you is what should be happening to you. This is exactly why black women, or any women for that matter, in a domestically abusive relationship do not leave their abuser. Because not only is he physically abusing, he's psychologically manipulating her thought process into thinking that she cannot be anything without him, and that the abuse that she is receiving, she actually earned it. So propaganda is powerful. America spends no less than $500 million a year on propaganda. $500 million a year on propaganda. The CIA, the FBI, the United States government employs thousands of psychologists, thousands of psychiatrists, thousands of media specialists. They employ thousands of people who participate directly or indirectly in the art of propaganda so they can control the citizenry. Government control or effective government is the art of making your victims believe that you are operating in their best interest. And by the way, to really study propaganda, one has to study Adolf Hitler. You would have to study Adolf Hitler. I'm not a supporter of Adolf Hitler. I am not a fan of Adolf Hitler. He had nothing but contempt for African people, and he exterminated 50,000 Africans at least while he was exterminating European Jews in Nazi Germany, so I'm no fan. But Adolf Hitler and his propaganda minister, Joseph Goebbels. If anyone wants to study the art of propaganda scientifically, you must study Joseph Goebbels, Goebbels. I might be spelling it wrong. It may be ALF, but you have to study him. He is the man who is responsible for Adolf Hitler's rise to power. He is the man who systematically taught Adolf Hitler how to control the minds of Nazi Germany towards furthering his own end. And basically, as Hitler said, coming from Goebbels, he said, if you want to control people, do not make the lie too big. Do not make the lie too complex. He said, it is very easy to control people. Keep the lie simple. Keep the lie consistent. Tell it over and over again. And if you do this, people cannot help but accept your lie as the truth. He's absolutely right. Why? Because psychologically, the brain is the creature of repetition. Yes, we are very intelligent people, but guess what? We are only as intelligent as the repetition of the lies that are put before us. If I tell you you ain't nothing every day, sooner or later, your brain will accept it. Black people have been told that they are nothing for 400 years. Sooner or later, you will accept that. White people have been told that they were superior for 400 years. Sooner or later, you will accept that. I don't care how intelligent you think you are, your brain will always and forever be the victim of repetition. It doesn't matter how big the lie is or how small the truth is. If you tell it over and over again, ultimately, you will control that person's mind.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
$500 billion is what they spend on mind control. Can anybody tell me why the United States government spends $500 billion on media? You know why they spend $500 billion on media? Because white folk are a minority in the world, and the best way you can control the majority being a minority is you got to control the way they think, and that's the purpose of media. You stop people from going to war. Anybody ever heard of the Rockefeller Board of Education? Did y'all know the Rockefellers had their own board of education? Oh yes. Why would a family that's into global investment in oil start a school board when they ain't got no damn schools? Because the Rockefellers said if we want to control the world, we got to control the textbooks that the schools use. We have to make sure we know what they teaching the children, or otherwise they might teach the children to take our power. Why do you think your children don't get classes on economics, classes on real estate, classes on multinational investment? It's set up like that you don't get taught big business in school. That's how they set it up. You get taught how to work for white folks. And that's why the schools are closing down now, because they don't need black workers no more. Don't y'all got schools closing down around here? Oh yeah, they shutting public schools down, baby. Ain't gonna be no public education in the next 50 years because they don't need no black workers in the next 50 years. They got the Mexicans here to do that. You're done. If you don't create an economy for yourself, you will die. You can pray all you want, march all you want, vote all you want. America no longer needs the black man's labor. America no longer needs the black woman's labor. That's why you can go to college and still not get no job, because they don't need you. This is the reality. Public schools were started to teach you how to read, how to write, and how to count so you can go work for Chevy, go work for Walmart, go work for McDonald's, go work for the factory. But they done sent all those factories to second and third world nations, and the ones that's still here, to give them to the Mexicans and Latinos. You ain't got no damn job. So what is the purpose of public school now? The purpose of public school now is to prepare black girls for poverty and black boys for jail. The new racism is to act like there is no racism. Intelligence testing. William Stern, a German Jew who was ultimately kicked out by Adolf Hitler, but he worked with Adolf Hitler for a while. And it was him who gave Adolf Hitler the science of intelligence testing that he made up to justify the extermination of European Jews. I don't know if y'all know this, but when they did the research on the Nazi exterminations, the Holocaust, most of the Jews they killed had an IQ test and they folded. They used the IQ test to justify extermination, just like the United States used the IQ test to justify sterilization of black folks. Half the states in this country did not let you have children or get married if your IQ score was below a certain point. America didn't copy Hitler. Hitler copied America. The whole Nazi science program was born right here. And Hitler was financed from Wall Street by European Jews. Why is that interesting? Because the first thing white folk want to tell black folk, black people sold you into slavery. Don't get mad at us, because it was your own people who sold you. Oh, really? Why I ain't heard nobody tell the white Jew man yet that it was your own people who financed your Holocaust, so stop complaining about it. Black people need to get over slavery. Why y'all keep talking about slavery? Oh, really? Ain't nobody told the Jews that. They come out with a Holocaust movie every month. Look at the double standard. I didn't participate in your Holocaust, European Jew, but you damn sure participated in mine. You was the primary financier of most of the slave ships. You was the primary financier of most of the insurance companies that insured my body on arrival. But I helped you, European Jew. In World War II, it was a group of black soldiers known as the Liberators who went into the heart of Berlin and freed the European Jews from the worst concentration camps. I helped y'all. You hurt us. Don't ask me to cry no damn tears for you. Because you own the media companies that's putting out negative images of black men. You own the record companies that's putting out negative images of black folk. You own the magazines and the newspapers. Don't you dare say I gotta cry a tear for you. I ain't got no tears for nobody but black folk. And I don't hate nobody else either. But my love is for mines. My love is for mines. I'm unapologetically African, and I'm gonna die that. I'm gonna die that. And you better die that too. The time has come for us to stop feeling insecure about being proud of who we are. The Latino loves being Latino and don't speak for nobody but the Latino. The Chinese love being Chinese and they don't speak for nobody but the Chinese. The Arab loves being Arabian and he don't speak for nobody but the Arab. It's time for the black man to love being the black man and don't speak for nobody but ourselves. What Marcus Garvey say? The most prominent prophet and king of Pan-Africanism, provisional president of Africa, the only black man to organize more than 1 million people, 15 million to be exact, the man who laid down the plan for every organization to come after me. I don't care what group you belong to, they copied Garvey, every last one. Garvey said if the black man is not careful, if the black man is not careful, he will drink in all the poison of Western civilization and die from the effects of it. Ain't that us? We drinking like hell, ain't we? We drinking integration. We drinking homosexuality. We drinking the media up. We drinking Xbox, video games, biracial marriages, and all this foolishness. The poison, forgetting who the hell you are and why you here.
Well, the job of the media is propaganda dissemination. That's why CNN has basically taken over the entire culture of news information distribution. If you notice on CNN, every day there's probably 5 main stories, CNN, headline news, 5 main stories, and you get the same 5 stories repeated to you over and over and over again. To do what? Massage the belief into your mind that this is actually the facts of the situation. See, the job of the media is not to report a story. The job of the media is to interpret the story from the vantage point of the power structure so that you're in alignment with your oppressor's opinion. This is the job of the media. They do not report the truth. They create the truth. And because it is difficult to get any type of information that is not directly controlled by the media, when you don't have any counter data to actually push back against or challenge what you're hearing, your brain is going to accept what it sees. If you had some alternative information, then you go through what's called cognitive dissonance. That's when your mind is being told 2 opposite things, and you don't have to reason within yourself and determine what you're actually going to believe to be true in the final analysis. But for most of us, all of the news we get comes from the corporate-owned media. There's 5 corporations in America, in the world, that basically control all of the information you get. There's Walt Disney, there's General Electric, there's Turner TNT, there's Rupert Murdoch's News Corporation, and there's like 1 or 2 more. They control 95% of all information. And when I say information, I'm not just talking about the news. I'm talking about music. I'm talking about radio, television station, magazines, and publishing houses. When we talk about media, we're not just talking about the news. We're talking about all forms of communication, whether that is music, whether that is movies, whether that is website, 95% of which are controlled by the same 5 companies, all of which sit at the table of the Bilderberger Group, the Council on Foreign Relations, the World Population Council, and all of which donated heavily to President Obama's campaign, Hillary's campaign, and will be donating heavily to Trump's campaign. And I point that out because African people have been propagated, when we speak of propaganda, into believing that there's somehow a difference between the way the Republican Party and the Democratic Party thinks about black people. You see it playing out right now with the election. Black people are going out of their way to demonize Donald Trump, who is a demon, but they're going out of their way to also evangelicize Hillary Clinton like she's some sort of angel when she has never been a supporter of black people, has never done anything of significance to help black folks. She is a population control junkie, okay? She is a big population control junkie, and her husband, Bill Clinton, when he was president, is single-handedly responsible for the mass incarceration of black men by way of nonviolent drug offenses. He's almost single-handedly responsible for the 3 strikes and you're out mandatory permanent sentencing laws for federal convictions. And he's single-handedly responsible for kicking millions of black women off of welfare during his presidency. So I really don't understand how Hillary Clinton could be any better than Donald Trump. The devil is the devil, and there is no lesser of 2 evils. Okay, let me clarify. For the presidential election, you can vote all you want. You don't choose a president. So it doesn't matter to me whether you voted or not. Your vote does not matter. Okay? White people's vote does not matter. The power structure chooses the president. The United States Constitution is very clear about this. I was a political science major in undergrad. This was made very clear to us that people do not choose presidents. The only relevance that the popular vote has to this election of the president is that the popular vote informs the power structure as to who the people want. That is important because from a propaganda standpoint, you like to be in alignment with the people, or you need to put the people in alignment with you. For example, right now there's a big problem with the presidential election because Donald Trump is clearly the choice for white folks. Donald Trump is clearly the choice for white folks. However, the power structure wants Hillary. So the reason Donald Trump receives 85% negative press through the major media outlets and Hillary Clinton receives 85% positive press is because the power structure is trying to massage you and manipulate white folks into changing their support for Donald Trump into support for Hillary Clinton. Let's take the year 2000 election. In the year 2000 election, Al Gore beat George Bush. He beat him in the popular vote. He won the popular election. But George Bush got the White House because 2 more electoral college members selected Bush, even though nearly 1 million more citizens voted for Al Gore. So in your lifetime, you have seen it yourself that the people's vote do not matter. Black people, once again, from a propaganda standpoint, are suffering from the illusion of inclusion, the belief that your vote matters. Your vote don't matter. White vote don't matter. You don't choose the president. Now, by contrast, when we talk about state elections and local elections, I think voting can be a rather effective strategy to help support the implementation of the black agenda. Notice I said voting could be a strategy to support the black agenda. Voting is not the black agenda. The problem with Negroes is we are so damn lazy that we want voting to be the be-all and end-all because we don't want to get off our asses and do anything, and we don't want to dig in our pockets and spend anything. So voting can support implementation of the black agenda. Voting is not the black agenda. And it is also important to state that until we organize and chain our votes together, voting will never benefit black people locally, statewide, or nationally, because in a democracy, the majority rules. America is an alleged democracy. There's more white people than black, and there's almost more Latinos than black. So you're not even number 2 anymore. You're number 3. So that means you have to bring your votes together and leverage them as a block of power so they can be used to help you. But as long as we keep on identifying as Democrat, identifying as Republican, choosing between Hillary and Trump, that is a mistake. What we should do is divest from membership in all major political parties and then start black political unions in every state, and then we leverage our vote irrespective of whether the candidate is a Democrat or a Republican to get the most for our votes. What do you do when you go shopping in the supermarket? Are you dedicated to buying Frosted Flakes from Kellogg's, or are you open to getting the no-frills Frosted Flakes from Pathmark? And are you even still open to getting the new brand of Frosted Flakes? What is going to determine which box of Frosted Flakes you pick up? First of all, you're going to look at the ingredients, and once you see that they're consistent, you're going to look at how much you get, and you're going to see that that's consistent, and then you're going to look at the price. And ultimately, whichever product is going to give you the biggest bang for your dollar, that's how you shop. That's how you shop. Black people don't do that. We will go in and pick up the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes just because it's Kellogg. Because it's Kellogg. We ain't going to check it out. We ain't going to look at the ingredients. We ain't going to look on whether the box of Frosted Flakes is stale. Because it's Kellogg's and we love Kellogg's, we're going to buy it. And that's exactly what we've been doing with the Democratic Party, which is why they don't take us serious and Republicans don't take us serious either. It's time for a political paradigm shift in black America. As I said, organization or extermination.